to Benny Auto Parts Facebook page this morning. It's Thursday morning here at the shop. It's about 8 o'clock. We're getting rolling today. Been here since about 6:15. Ready to get started on our next project. So I'm going to bring you up to speed a little bit of what we've been doing now for the last 3 months or so. So 3 months ago, which I guess would have been September, we did a build on a 1952 model Ford Flathead 239. We carried you through that whole process from start to finish. Hope you enjoyed that build. It turned out really nice. The engine is gone. It's gone to LaGrange, Georgia, to another shop to be put in the vehicle. And then, so that one turned out really well. That went from a 239 to a 274. We actually stroked that motor. So we jumped from the 50s. Here we are. We went into November doing a 6.2 LS engine, which is a real current engine, 2012, 2015 Cadillac Escalade is what those actually came in. So we went from 53 to 2015. That engine is finished. We've got it completely built. We stroked that engine as well. Went from a 374 to a 416 cubic inch. Going to be a supercharged engine for the customer. That turned out real well. So that brings us to our next project. Year model doesn't really matter to us here at Benny Auto Parts. We work on from the 30s up to the 2020s as far as projects and engines goes. So this particular project this month that we're going to be highlighting in December is a 1967 Pontiac GTO 400 cubic inch engine. Pontiac was an iconic car with General Motors. I'm partial to Pontiac because I started my career at Pontiac. 1973, I went to work for Miller Pontiac. Worked in the parts department, started learning the parts trade, automotive trade there at Miller Pontiac, right here in Columbus, Georgia. Learned a lot. Loved the brand, loved the car. It's unfortunate that GM decided to put the axe to Pontiac, and that iconic nameplate is gone now. But there's still a lot of good old Pontiacs around. You think back to 1964 GTO. The 64 GTO, which had a 389 cubic inch engine in it, was the beginning of the muscle car era. Pontiac GTO is credited with starting the muscle cars that were so iconic through the 60s and actually on into the early part of the 70s. But anyway, with that being said, we've got this project on the stand. I'm going to give you a little history about this. We're going to change up a little bit of what we're doing as far as showing our customers what we're building. We're going to take this engine. This engine's got some issues, okay? This engine was built at another shop, not in this area, not in Columbus. It was built South Alabama by a shop. Put it together, put it in the car. I don't know, it had some issues. The customer just basically told me, said, look, I had to pick it up, it won't run. I spent this big amount of money getting this engine rebuilt, and it's got some issues, it wouldn't pull out of the shop. So anyway, the customer being a good friend of ours, we've done a lot of his engines in the past. I don't know why he took this one out of town I think he was having some other work done, and basically one thing led to another. But anyway, he is very, very dissatisfied, and he's had a lot of money for paying to have this thing done. But anyway, so he brings it to me, and we're going to fix it. We're going to kind of highlight taking this thing apart. So we're looking for issues and problems. As far as why the engine won't run, I'll give you, I do know this before we even get started. It wiped out a camshaft. It's got a Ram Air 4 stage 2 camshaft in it, I think. Stage 1, stage 2 Pontiac Ram Air 4, very high performance. It wiped the camshaft out, wiped all the lifters out. Of course, when you do that, that just puts metal all through the system, all through the oiling system, and it basically wipes out bearings. So basically, this is a disassembly where we're looking for problems. Okay, we're looking for what caused this. Pontiac engines are they're very critical in the heads, the head department, as far as valve geometry, valve tip height, things like that. Rockers are, they're non-adjustable rockers on a Pontiac. They can be converted over to adjustables, but from the factory they come non-adjustable, so that makes the valve train geometry real critical. I understand these heads had a brand new set of valves put in them. Well, if you put valves in them and you didn't set the tip heights correctly, when you go to tighten those rockers down, being non-adjustable, you're putting way too much preload on the camshaft. So that's probably what happened. That's kind of what we suspect. We don't know that for a fact yet, but we will shortly. So what we're going to do in this first segment, the first week, basically it's disassembly, diagnosis. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pull the valve covers off to start with. We're going to pull the rocker arms off, push rods off, kind of look around. They got this center valley cover right here. We're going to pull it off, kind of look in there and see what's going on with that, with the lifters. And then we'll proceed from there. Basically, I'm pretty sure the engine is going to have to come apart totally. Once metal gets into the oiling system, goes through the bearings, it just does all sorts of damage that, it's not usually not major damage caused by oil particles and metal shavings and bearing, but it's enough to affect oil pressure. So when you start affecting oil pressure, that's when problems start creeping in, because your oil pressure will continually, as the engine runs, the longer it runs, the less the oil pressure gets. Of course, oil pressure is like your heart. It's the heartbeat of the engine, just like your heart's the heartbeat of your body. It supplies the oil supply throughout the engine at a constant pressure. When you start losing constant pressure, that's when you start having issues. So I hope you enjoy this. We're not going to throw stones and not going to talk about anybody. I don't even know who this shop was, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us. We're not in the business of running other shops down. We just don't do that here at Benny Auto Parts. We have integrity and character here, and we're going to protect the identity of this customer. We're not going to mention who it is, but he has trusted us to disassemble this engine, figure out what's going on with it, and get it fixed, get it run so he can get it back in his iconic 67 GTO. So I hope you enjoy this build that we're doing. You'll kind of get an insight of what we look for when we disassemble an engine. Typically, when people bring us an engine, we like to know a little of the history about the engine, because that kind of gives us a direction of, okay, this engine has done this and been here. It's got these little issues the customer states. So once we start disassembling it, we look for things. We kind of look for things that's correlated to the customer's problem that he's told us about. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to get started on this. We're going to do a video of it. And again, this will be a weekly series. This should take up the full month of December. With that, anything else being said, we're going to get started and just kind of videotape everything, and we'll talk a little bit as we go. As we find a problem, we're going to document it. We're going to write it down for the customer and take some pictures. Of course, we got a video. This video will be good too. So I hope you enjoy it. This kind of deviates from what we usually do, but I think it's an important part of this build for customers to know, that when we disassemble something, we just don't take it apart and throw it in a box. We're looking for issues, we're looking for problems to fix whatever it needs. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Look forward to talking to you a little bit more next week. Thanks and have a great day. Take a look. Rocker arms, rods, already out of it for some reason. I didn't take them out. Somebody else took them out, I guess. Trying to diagnose the problem. I see one quick rod still in there. So this is a very, very huge problem right off the bat. I'll show it to you. So this is a hydraulic lifter. As you can see, it's supposed to be flat on the bottom. Well, as you can see, over 3/8 of an inch of this lifter is wore completely off. It's gone. It's concave. You can see how much shorter it is right there. So naturally when that happened, it just destroyed the camshaft in the customer's engine. So there's another one, same way. Basically it's tried to cut a trough through the lifter. Another one, same way. You see the angle of it. It's supposed to be flat, smooth. Again, comparing it to a new one, a good one that came out of it. Some of them are good. Look at this one here. You see how much the shortness is different. The length is different on them. I've been doing this a long time, and that's about the worst I've ever seen right there, just to be honest with you. Some serious issues going on with this thing. Push rod length's wrong, valve tip height is wrong on the valve. Something is definitely a miss in the valve train geometry. So once we get these heads off, we're going to look at these heads really close and measure these tip heights on these valves, because this man worked these heads. He did a valve job on. Matter of fact, he made a comment to me, put all new valves in it, and so we kind of found a don't know if it's the only problem, but it's a problem, so.